Some people do their best work with a deadline, a boss, and a clear set of rules. Others do their best work the moment all of that is removed. The interesting part is that neither of them chose that preference. It was built into their chart before they were born. I am Mr. Shu. I read the classical Chinese system of BaZi and Feng Shui for a living, and I apply it to the questions people actually care about. No vague monthly forecasts, no items to purchase, just the system, applied honestly. Today we are looking at how your chart responds to pressure, not as a personality quiz, but as a way to understand why the environments that work for others might be exactly the ones that are quietly breaking you. Let us get into it. Think about the last time someone put real pressure on you. A tight deadline, a demanding manager, a situation where the stakes were high and you had very little room to move. For some people, that is when they become their sharpest version. The pressure clears everything out and what is left is focused, decisive, effective. For others, that exact same environment does the opposite. It does not sharpen them, it locks them up. They second guess every move. They lose the thread of what they were trying to do, and afterwards, they tell themselves they are not built for high-stakes situations. But here is what the classical system actually says about that. It is not about who is stronger or who handles stress better. It is about what your chart is designed to run on. In BaZi, the element that governs your relationship to authority, structure, and external pressure is called the influence element. In Chinese, the two forms are Guan Xing, which translates roughly as the officer star, and Sha Xing, sometimes called the seven killings. Those names sound dramatic. The reality of what they describe is something most people recognize immediately once they understand what they are looking at. The influence element does not just tell you how you handle stress, it tells you what kind of environment your chart is built to convert into output. And if you are operating in the wrong one, no amount of discipline or effort will compensate for the structural mismatch. In BaZi, the two forms of the influence element describe two genuinely different relationships with external authority. The first is Guan Xing, the direct officer. This structure responds to clear, legitimate authority, rules that are fair, structures that are consistent, organizations that have a real hierarchy and follow it. A chart with well-placed direct officer energy tends to operate well inside established systems. Give this person a clear set of expectations and they not only meet them, they often become the person who holds the standard for everyone else. If this is your structure, you have probably thrived in environments with clear reporting lines, defined roles, and consistent accountability. You are not threatened by having a good manager above you. A good manager is actually what unlocks you. The second form is Sha Xing, the seven killings. This structure is not activated by fairy authority. It is activated by pressure that has edges, a challenge that is slightly beyond reach, a situation where the rules are not entirely clear and the outcome is not guaranteed. Seven killings energy does not need a good manager. It needs a problem that is genuinely hard. If this is your structure, you may have noticed something that feels contradictory. You struggle in comfortable environments. When there is no real pressure, no genuine stakes, no problem worth solving, you go flat. Not lazy, flat. Like a system that has not been given enough load to run properly. Most people in this category spend years trying to become better at performing in low-stakes environments. What the chart is actually telling them is that they need to find higher stakes, not better discipline. These are not two versions of the same thing. They are two fundamentally different structures with different activation conditions. Putting a 7 killings chart into a direct officer environment is not a minor mismatch. It is like running the wrong fuel through a system that was built for something else entirely. The reason this matters practically is that most people try to fix the symptom rather than read the structure. Someone with a direct officer structure who ends up in a role with no clear expectations, a disorganized team, and a manager who changes direction every week will usually start to underperform. They will often interpret that as their own failure. They will work harder, take on more, try to create the structure themselves, and they will burn out doing it. Because the chart does not produce best when the person is manufacturing the environment they need. It produces best when the environment already provides it. On the other side, someone with a 7 killings structure who ends up in a highly stable, clearly defined, low-pressure role will often feel a different kind of drain. Not burnout, something quieter, a slow erosion of engagement that they cannot explain. They are not lazy. The role is simply not applying enough load for their chart to run at the level it is capable of. Both of these situations tend to produce the same conclusion. I am the problem. I need to be better at this environment. The chart says something different. It says the environment is the variable, not the person. This is also why the same objective description of a role can feel completely different depending on who is reading it. A job posting that says structured, process-driven environment with clear KPIs sounds like stability to one person and a slow suffocation to another. The words are identical. The chart is not. Neither structure is superior. Both can produce exceptionally high output when placed correctly. The question is never which one is better. The question is always whether the environment you are in is the one your chart can actually convert. The practical takeaway from this is not to go and find a new job tomorrow. It is to stop using the wrong environment as evidence of a personal failing. If you have spent years wondering why pressure either activates you or shuts you down, and you have tried to reason or discipline your way out of that pattern without success, the chart suggests the pattern is structural. It is not something to overcome. It is something to understand well enough to place yourself correctly. In the next video, we are going to look at what happens when the influence element is absent from the chart entirely. Because a chart with no influence structure has its own set of patterns, and they are consistently misread as discipline problems when they are actually something else. If you want to catch that when it drops, subscribe on YouTube. That is where every full episode goes first. Subscribing means it comes straight to you rather than you having to find it. If you spend more time on TikTok than YouTube, I post everything there as well, full videos and shorter cuts. The link is in the description. If this episode gave you something useful, a like helps more people find this kind of content. The algorithm surfaces it to the people who would benefit most from it. That is the only reason I ask. I am Mr. Shu. I will see you in the next one.